Mr. Pocket, a multiversal being with godlike powers, needed heroes and villains for his quest to save the multiverse. But first, these champions would need to go on their own journey. Aiding this, he combined the two universes into one. We know these as the Marvel and DC universes. This event would be known as Union Day, and here we have stories of heroes and villains living their lives after Union Day. Before Union Day and the new history made by the fusion of the two universes, we have heroes and villains known to all, and some we've never seen before. Now let us dive into Tiger Tales Marvel and DC Unionverse.
War Against Gotham. Chapter 7. Hunting for Robin. Arsenal and Hawkeye smashed through a window to an abandoned apartment block. They landed and aimed their bows, arrows drawn. The gang members all stood there, and Arsenal and Hawkeye released their arrows, hitting two of the thugs. Both of them dropped to the ground with a hard thud. The other thugs charged at the two archers. Hawkeye jumped up and kneed one of them directly in the face, knocking him to the ground. Then he aimed and shot another arrow at one of the other thugs. Arsenal shot a flashbang tipped arrow at the ground, and the flash blinded three thugs. Arsenal swept between two of the thugs and kicked one in the leg, forcing him to drop to one knee, and then he swung his bow and slammed it across the thug's head. Then he grabbed the other by the collar and punched the thug multiple times in the face until he passed out. Then he turned to the last one. He drew two arrows and shot both of them at the same time. The thug was hit and thrown into a wall, the two piercing through his shoulders and connected him to the wall. He was suspended there, hanging there. Arsenal and Hawkeye stood in front of the man.
Where's Robin?
Arsenal barked. I don't know. I don't know where the bird brain is. The thug cried out in pain. I think we're asking the wrong questions here, Hawkeye told Arsenal.
Good point.
Arsenal muttered. Hawkeye shot an arrow in the thug's kneecap. He cried out in more pain, and Arsenal leaned in closer to the thug, twisting the arrow in his knee, and the thug started to tear up.
Where's Scarecrow?
Arsenal roared. I don't know, the thug mumbled.
I will ask one more time. Where is Scarecrow?
Arsenal screamed at him. Okay. Oh, Baker's Place, on A Crown Lane, the thug cried. Arsenal let go of the arrow, and both archers jumped through the broken window they made. They started jumping from rooftop to rooftop.
Dick, we got a hit. Meet us at the closed down baker shop on A Crown Lane.
Arsenal barked through his communicator. Nightwing and Black Canary perched on a rooftop across the street where the thugs were carrying boxes out of the baker shop into a massive set of vans.
Arsenal and Hawkeye's information seems to be a hit,
Nightwing said.
What's the plan here?
Black Canary asked. Nightwing hit his communicator.
Me and BC are about to hit this place. We need information on Alex. It doesn't seem like Scarecrow is here. Boys, join us when you arrive. Alfred, keep your suit warm, just in case this goes south. Or you're our escape strategy,
Nightwing ordered.
5 minutes out,
Arsenal replied. Don't beat up all the bad guys, leave some for us, Hawkeye joked.
The suit is primed and ready if you need me. I will be ready, sir,
Alfred replied. Nightwing looked at Black Canary, who nodded at him. Then they both jumped off the roof of the building, landing between the open van and the thugs carrying some boxes.
Evening, gents. Sorry, I got lost on my way to work. I was meant to take a left then a right to the Wayne Towers, right?
Nightwing asked sarcastically. One of the thugs dropped the box that he was carrying and ran at Nightwing. He threw a left punch, hitting him in the stomach, then threw a right punch, smacking him in the face, knocking him out. Another thug came running at Nightwing, but before he could react, Black Canary landed in front of him. She caught his fist and elbowed him in the face, and then she pulled the thug over her shoulder, slamming him onto the ground. The rest of the thugs pulled out their guns and aimed them at the duo. Nightwing pulled out his eskrima sticks, and Black Canary pulled out her bow staff. Then suddenly, two arrows hit the ground. They both expelled some smoke. The smoke fogged up the place extremely quickly, and the thugs all started panicking as they lost their sense of sight. They started firing their guns in all different directions, and Nightwing and Black Canary ran in and started smacking the thugs around. Arsenal and Hawkeye kept to the rooftop and started taking out the thugs from a distance. They took out the group of thugs fast and without error. Once all the thugs were down and out for the count, Arsenal and Hawkeye dropped onto the ground and joined their teammates. They started scouting the place out, searching the cabinets and boxes and the vans. Yeah, I got no sign of Scarecrow here, just some bank documents, Hawkeye muttered as he flapped around some paperwork. Arsenal snatched them out of his hand and examined them.
Crane bought a house in the Upper East Side. He bought some fancy pants house, man, with chandeliers and an elevator to the basement.
Arsenal sniped.
So why does a hallucinate-obsessed psychopath need a fancy house?
Black Canary asked.
Well, I just found a receipt for soundproofing. Why would Crane need soundproofing?
Nightwing asked with a hint of intrigue. They all set out to Crane's new fancy house in the Upper East Side. As the light of dawn hit the sky, 2 motorcycles zoomed through the Upper East Side of Gotham. Their humming gently filled the streets. They halted in front of Crane's house. Nightwing, Black Canary both climbed off of one as Arsenal and Hawkeye climbed off the other.
2 up and close, and 2 hold back won't work here. Hawkeye with me, Arsenal with Black Canary. Back to back. Keep on the comms, and by the love of Krypton, be careful, this is Crane's house.
Nightwing ordered. Black Canary and Arsenal went to the back of the house. Arsenal pulled out an arrow and rammed the tip of it into the lock and gave it a little wiggle. With some force he managed to pop open the back door, and he opened the door slowly and gestured Black Canary to lead the way. She scoffed at him as she didn't know whether the gesture was out of politeness or fear. They crept into the house and Arsenal placed the arrow on his bow and drew it ever so slightly, keeping it steady. Black Canary held her staff extended and firm in her grip as they crept through the large kitchen and entered the bigger dining room. Black Canary found the light switch, the dining room lit up. Arsenal walked up to the cabinet and wiped his finger across it, examining the amount of dust on his fingertips.
For a fancy house, sure is dusty,
Arsenal stated.
I think it's safe to say Crane isn't a law-abiding citizen in the Upper East Side of Gotham.
Black Canary said sarcastically. They continued to explore the downstairs part of the house. Nightwing and Hawkeye jumped up onto the balcony, and Hawkeye kept a lookout as Nightwing placed one of his skimmer sticks on the window of the balcony door and triggered the shockwave of a minor setting, which shattered the window into a million tiny pieces. He then reached in and unlocked the door, and they both walked into the bedroom. Hawkeye turned on the room light, and the bed was nicely made. The wardrobe was untouched. Not lived in. Big shock there, Hawkeye said sarcastically.
This house is empty. Everyone meet in the basement.
Nightwing ordered into his communicator. Everyone gathered around the basement door. Nightwing, with a quick swing of his skimmer stick, broke the padlock and opened the door. They crept down into the basement ever so slowly. They all walked through the basement. Suddenly, red lasers appeared, filling the room. The 4 of them stopped dead in their tracks and examined the room around them. Boss, top right corner at the back. Seems like a power supply, Hawkeye pointed out.
Shock arrow, lower voltage. Aim it straight. Do not miss,
Arsenal told Hawkeye. Hawkeye nodded at his mentor, and they both drew their shock arrows and drew them on their bows. They took a short breath, and they fired their arrows. They both hit the supply box. The arrows hit the box dead on. There's a short electrical surge, then the laser shut off. They all then advanced deeper in the room, and Nightwing walked up to a cage which was empty.
Something is wrong here.
Nightwing murmured. I got a computer over here, Hawkeye called out. They all gathered around the computer screen. Hawkeye hit the keyboard a few times and a video played. Scarecrow stood there in the basement they were currently in.
Hello, Boy Wonder and company. Welcome to my house. As you can see, you have wasted your time searching for your little Nightwing Jr. I even took the liberty and left my house untouched. Not a single drop of my new fear toxin. I found a new strain, but I'm willing to wait and hold off a little while longer. See you soon, heroes of Gotham.
Scarecrow hissed, then the video cut off.
So this was all a hoax, a waste of time.
Nightwing barked. He then kicked the chair over and stormed off. In the Batcave, Dick sat at the computer. Roy and Lance was in the practicing ring, using the holographic technology to practice their archery skills as Alfred walked in with the cart.
Master Grayson, I have boiled some Earl Grey tea. It will calm your nerves.
Alfred told him. He presented a cup before Dick. He took it and sipped it slowly.
Thanks, Alfred.
Dick muttered, without removing his eyes off the screen.
So, what are we doing here?
Alfred asked.
Barb is scanning the city for any sign of Alex, Scarecrow, or his thugs. Anything that could give us a lead.
Dick sighed.
Master Grayson, you must not let the losses we suffer cloud your judgment here.
Alfred told him. Dick swiveled on his chair to face Alfred.
What are you saying, Alfred?
Dick asked.
Master Wayne was lost on Union Day. Young Master Damien became Ra's al Ghul. We do not know where Master Todd is, and Miss Gordon died. I have known you since you were 9, Dick. I can see you panicking. You're afraid that you would lose Master Andrew as well.
Alfred told him. Dick let out a long sigh as his gaze dropped to the ground.
I can't lose another one, Alfred. I have to bring Alex home.
Dick said sternly.
Dick, I have located Alex Andrews, a.k.a. Robin.
Barbara said. Dick turned to the screen and watched as he saw Alex in his Robin suit. He looked tired, exhausted even, and he had puncture marks all up his arms and chest. He was stood there at the Batman statue, a dead look in his eyes.
We have to go get him.
Dick barked. He then bolted out of his chair and walked over to his suit that sat in the display case. Roy, Lance and Alfred joined him.
You guys don't have to join me here. He is my protege. He is my responsibility.
Dick muttered.
Shut up, man. We're coming with you like it or not.
Roy said, with a slight mockery chuckle to his voice. Besides, I already called Dinah. Lance shrugged.
He is family, Master Grayson. We are all coming with you.
Alfred told him. Then they all suited up and headed out to get their Robin back home safely. Robin stood in front of the Batman Memorial statue. To the normal eye, it was a solid stone statue symbolising the movement and message that Batman betrayed. But to Alex, it was a godlike being telling him to wipe out the rest of the Bat family. It told him that the Bat family was a toxic poison to Gotham. It told him that Alex should be the next Batman, and to do so, he had to wipe out the competition.
What you have just listened to is a product created by the Three Ranger Bros Studio.
Hosted by 3 cosplaying fathers who
happen to be massive geeks of all sorts of fandoms.
They are Mark, the Red Cornish Ranger,
Cosplay Dude 637,
and Tai Tiger.
The studio covers different types of YouTube videos, TikToks, podcasts, and live streams.
If you wish to find out who cosplays who, the YouTube channels, the TikTok accounts, and the podcasts, and all of the other social media platforms,
please go to the 3rangerbrostudios.com.